Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start with our next session, and before that, I would like to quickly inform all of you that towards the end of the session, we will be doing a Q&A, and for that, you need to go to the GFF app and click on the agenda button. Select the session that you are here for, click on the live Q&A and make sure that you add your questions over there, and make sure you add them because our moderator will be picking your questions from there. With that, I am going to go ahead and open the next session. We are here to discuss digitizing rural credit, building scalable and sustainable agri and microfinance models. And this session is going to be moderated by Mr. Harshvardhan Lunia, former chair of Fintech Convergence Council and former founder, Lending Cart. Our speakers for this session are going to be Shri Goverdhan Singh Rawat, Deputy Managing Director, NABARD, Mr. Rajneesh Karnatak, Managing Director and CEO, Bank of India, Mr. Thomas Muthoot John, Executive Director, Muthoot Microfin. Ladies and gentlemen, I want all of you to please put your hands together and join me in welcoming our panelists on stage.
Thank you guys. Welcome and good morning. Thank you for joining us for this important topic on conversation on rural finance. I think we have three stalwarts with us who have exhibited a lot of contribution in the rural finance space. But just initial few thoughts from my side that why is rural finance important? Across the globe, if you look at rural communities, they have been the backbone of an economy in form of agriculture, in form of natural resource management, and even maintaining the cultural heritage of that place. But globally, there has been a problem of financial inclusion. Have they been served properly? Have the traditional systems being serving them what is needed for them and everything? They remain underserved in terms of limited access to credit, savings, insurance, and digital payment systems. A lot of rural entrepreneurs, a lot of rural smallholder farmers, informal businesses don't have access to them. Today, with our panel, we bring together a diverse group of experts who are tackling this challenge from different angles: policy, technology, grassroots, and innovation, and finance as a specific field. So we will explore all of this, and at the end of the session, happy to answer a lot of questions that you guys might have on this topic. So. Rajneesh sir, I'll begin with you overall. The first question is, what do you think is the current state of rural finance in India? How are we placed? What are we doing and stuff like that? Sir, up to you.
Thank you so much, Harsh. Thanks for inviting me here on this panel discussion. Rural finance, rural economy per se is very important and is the backbone of the economy of the country. As you are all aware, for the banking part, the regulator RBI has also given priority sector status to majority of the agriculture loans which are there. Such big is the contribution of the rural economy to the overall financial growth of the country. So as we are aware that rural economy also provides the food grains, the food items, everything. And as far as the banking in the rural segment is concerned, banks are doing quite well. To give you a narrative there, that Bank of India is having nearly 1,600 rural branches. We are also catering to the rural farmers and rural population through our business correspondents, which are more than 23,000. That is also there. And then, as you are aware, that there is a huge gap as far as the financial literacy is concerned in the rural areas. There also we are conducting financial literacy camps. And over the last 5 to 7 years, we have done nearly 43,000 financial literacy camps, Bank of India itself, for creating awareness on the financial literacy part among the rural population. As regards the other banking part is concerned, majority of the rural transactions hitherto were done under the physical mode. Like the customers come to the branches, whether it is for the liability side products or the asset side products. But now slowly the things are changing and lot of digitization is happening on the various products, both on the asset side, liability side, and also on the wealth management side, on the rural agriculture, rural part also. So what I can say is today banks, not only I am speaking for my bank, but for all the banks, that we are offering all liability products, whether they are opening of saving accounts, whether they are opening of fixed deposits, even in rural branches on the digital mode. That is one part. On the asset side also, many of the products are fully digitized, particularly like KCC loans, like gold loans. These have been digitized through various fintechs. That is another part. And wealth management products, particularly insurance product, whether it is livestock insurance, whether it is personal insurance, all these are also being given under the digitized mode through the wealth management products of the banks. Another challenge that banks are facing is with respect to the low ticket size in the rural, particularly the asset side, the loan side, small loan, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 1 lakh amount of loan, and the operating cost being high. And now thankfully with the coming of IT, coming of digitization, these challenges getting now mitigated. And a lot of automation and digitization is happening also on the asset side and the liability side of the banking operations. So that one big challenge which was there earlier with respect to the high operating costs in the rural branches, that is now slowly coming down with the adoption as far as the digital concern is there. We also understand very rightfully that the rural population is not very much mindful about the digital onboarding directly. So what we have done in most of the banks, particularly what I can say for my bank, Bank of India, is that we have provided tablets to our branch officers at the branch level itself. So any customer coming to the rural branch, the account, saving account can be opened through the digital mode, or the KCC journey or loan journey can also be done through the digital mode, assisted by the branch officer. So officer sitting at the branch, staff sitting at the branch, apart from the business correspondent. So we are trying to help in the hybrid mode of digitization which is happening, because we are aware that the rural population may not be able to onboard themselves directly onto the platform. So these are the basic things. These are my initial thoughts. So what I can say is that the footprint in the rural economy is changing as far as the banking and financial services is concerned, and lot of digitization of various products is happening both on asset side, liability side, and wealth management through various fintechs and number of fintechs formed for different kind of activities which have come up, and banks are onboarding them. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, very, very helpful. Rawat sir, today we have one of the largest communities, rural communities in the world, and one of the largest communities almost after China in terms of financial inclusion, and that we are working on. And I think we've been tracking the financial inclusion index through RBI as well, where we have grown drastically. Can you please share the thoughts with the group on where are we still placed globally, right, in terms of financial inclusion and everything?
Yeah, thank you, Harsh. I think if you had asked me this question maybe 8-10 years ago, the answer would have been different. But now, in the last decade or so, the type of intervention the government, the regulator, our central bank, and the role played by the public sector bank and the financial institutions, and on top of that, whatever innovations the fintech companies have brought in, plus the NBFC, MFI sector that has brought in. So I think that has changed the landscape in a big way. The digital public infrastructure that we have created, the UPIs that you know, and that's reflecting in our financial inclusion index also that you mentioned about. So in the last 4 years since the RBI started capturing this financial inclusion index, so we have moved almost 24% in the last 4 years. So we are at around 67%. And then there are many other indicators which shows that where we are. For example, now the account ownership is at around 89%. And the better part is that women account ownership is more than 50%. So that's a very plus. Similarly, if you see, Mr. Karnatak talked about the KCCs and all. So our overall agriculture credit lending is at around 32 lakh crore right now. And in the last 10 years, it has increased almost 4 times. The KCC account, if you say, it's almost about 7 crore plus farmers, almost 8 crore farmers are getting credit in a seamless way through the KCC product. Similarly, if you say the SHG lending, where the women are the major beneficiaries, so almost 18 crore household or the individual members financed through the banking system through the SHG mode. So if you count all these numbers, in terms of numbers, in terms of outreach, and in terms of depth, I think we are one of the top in the world if you talk about the rural financial system and where we have reached. But definitely there are challenges, like Mr. Karnatak said. If you see our overall rural credit, we are at around 9.5%. Overall credit to rural, I mean, percentage of rural credit is at around 9.5. If you see our credit to GDP ratio, we are at around something around 56. Yes. And where the developed economies are much higher. So there is a lot of scope in that area. And then still, although we have reached a huge scale, but still there are challenges when it comes to first-time credit. Then there are issues related to digital adoption in some of the remote areas because of the geographies or the outreach that, I mean, the far-flung areas that we have the remoteness. So, but the better part is the government is aware. Government is having a very concentrated approach towards achieving this. The regulator is aware. In fact, if we talk about wherever there is shortage in terms of credit penetration, those districts have been identified, that which are the districts which are low in credit penetration. And there is a very structured approach to mitigate that. So in terms of overall strategy and overall status, if I can say, in terms of scale, we have done a huge progress, but there is still a lot of gap, because if you see the overall population, if you see the geography that we have to cover, so still a lot way to go. And there are many steps being taken by government, also by the regulator, development financial institutions like NABARD, and also the public sector banks, the NBFC, MFIs. So definitely, we'll be much better in the days to come as the digital penetration improves.
Thank you, Rawat sir. Thomas, you've been you've been a practitioner in this space, right? Your institution and your organization has been like serving this space for decades now, and one of the most respected names in the country overall. And I'm sure you guys have grown by leaps and bounds and everything. Still, I think we see challenges on the ground, right? So what are the critical gaps that you observe or your team observes on a regular basis in executing this?
See, before I start to explain that question, I think let's go back what our institution was set up for a purpose. And with now, if you look at it, it's a purpose with technology, right? Purpose was to improve the well-being of common man through whatever products which is relevant to him. And with technology, we are kind of reaching that final customer much faster, and giving him that sustainable growth, what we are intending to do. What the major gaps which we have seen is that only 1/3 of the country has access to credit, of which if we look at almost only 9% of women entrepreneurs are getting the credit. So there is a lot of opportunity out there. But my point there is that it shouldn't be credit for everyone. It should be credit to specific individuals like entrepreneurs, small MSMEs, so that and first-time borrowers as well, which is a critical base for us as well, where we kind of educate them when they come to our branch. We kind of educate them on the product, plus educate them digitally as well, so that the repayments and the entire transaction happens. And they kind of, so we build a credit history with us, plus a digital backbone for these customers to go ahead. So, and each of our products are designed in a way that even though there could be a digital journey, we have also included the fact that the branch across the nation go and meet these customers to understand what beyond can be done and put a face to that particular product if it is digital. And the opposite way, where a customer comes to a branch, he can also continue his journey digitally through the platform as well. So it kind of gives an encompassment for the customer to decide what he wants. And and what we have seen is that especially the small entrepreneurs and small businesses, they do not have access to, like what sir was saying, to these small amounts, 10,000, 15,000, 16,000 rupees. That is where the help of UPI and QR comes in, where there's a cash flow history which was created. And on base of that, we are creating a credit score and then lend to these customers digitally, so that the cost of reaching these customers are cut down as well.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Next question. I'll start with Goverdhan sir first. Goverdhan sir, just before the panel, we spoke about Center for Financial Literacy, right? CFLs and other thing. So, what challenges do you think exist in digital literacy, connectivity, and adoption in rural India? What you are observing today?
So I think the major concern in adoption of digital is one is, I would say, the affordability part. The second is the usability. Third is the trust.
Yeah.
And fourth is the availability, actually.
Okay.
So when I talk about affordability, so most of these digital transactions are either the browsers or apps. They are basically the smartphone basis.
Right.
And in the feature phone, although there are now initiatives where the feature phones also carry some of these aspects, but mostly it is smartphone basis. And although the mobile phone ownership is quite high, smartphone ownership is still at around, say, I think around 35–40%. So I think that is one challenge. So in terms of, if we talk about affordability, whether everybody can afford a smartphone, which will be much more handier for handling the digital payment. So that is one area.
Correct.
The usability is another part.
Right.
So one is whether everybody understands what is being communicated.
Yeah.
So how UI UX is there in terms of the usability.
Correct.
Secondly, then there are issues related to the connectivity. So although our data rates and internet, penetration has improved, but still the assurity of that at the right time. So that is one aspect.
Correct.
And then another thing is the availability part also.
Yeah.
For example, although there is a huge network of branches, BCs, common service centers, but still there are gaps. For example, I'll give you one example. What we have done is in some of the dairy cooperative societies, we have provided micro ATMs.
Right.
And you will be actually surprised to see that how it has improved the deposits of the cooperative banks and those dairy cooperative societies.
Right. Yeah.
Because the members earlier, what they used to do is, they will draw the money, whatever they get from the milk procurement, and they will draw the cash. But we provided micro ATMs in these dairy cooperative societies. And now they are assured that whenever I need,
Yeah.
I'll get the cash at the village level itself.
Yeah.
So that has led to huge deposit mobilization at the cooperative bank level. So we did these two pilots in 2 districts in Gujarat,
Right.
and we have seen phenomenal increase. So availability at the right place where it is required. So
Right.
that is also a key.
Key point.
So I think these 3–4 areas in terms of the affordability, usability, and another area is, I think he was also discussing earlier, the language part of it.
Language part of it, yeah.
So whether it is available in the vernacular. So a lot of initiatives have been taken in that area also. But yes, and one major area is the trust part of it.
Trust part, yeah.
How do you educate? It's not only saying that it is safe, but then what are the precautions to be taken that it is safe?
Yeah.
So that entire set of education and the literacy has to go around so that we can improve this entire digital transformation in the rural area.
Makes sense. Rawat sir, this was very, very helpful. Coming back to Rajneesh sir. Rajneesh sir, you shared on how Bank of India is equipping itself, right, in terms of infrastructure, data, how giving iPads or pads to employees and everything. What are the observations from customer perspective, right? In terms of, like I asked Rawat sir for like adoption and everything. What are the feedbacks from the customer on the front, that whether how are they comfortable with digital payments, how are they comfortable with the changing landscape in overall using the services and everything? So what's the bank's experience on these fronts?
Yeah, very important question. See how much is the adoption is, and it's a mixed bag, I can say that.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's a mixed bag because, as you are aware, and as Rawatji has said, the basic thing that most of the people are having feature phones rather than smartphones.
Correct.
So that is the basic inhibition which is there on the digital side, that how to onboard digitally, even when the customer is coming in rural branches to our staff and the staff is trying to do the hybrid journey through the tablet at the branch level. So they are very much apprehensive about what the feeding is happening in the tablet, what kind of data, what the question is being asked, and finally what is being fed in the system. That kind of thing is there because still people are used to like filling up a form and maybe signing it whatever way they can sign. And another feedback that I can give is from our experience is that they are more comfortable with business correspondence. They are more local there at the
assisted model, basically.
Assisted model with business correspondents, because they speak their local language. They are residing somewhere there in the village itself. They are more accustomed and more used to those people who they see on a everyday basis, because bank staff also gets transferred on a regular basis. Every 3 to 4 years, our officers get transferred. So these are the challenges, but nonetheless, what we can say is in the last 4 to 5 years, there has been huge digital adaptability which has happened, even in the rural side, not to speak about in the metro and the urban branches, but even in the rural branches. So there are a lot of journeys, as I said earlier, to repeat myself, both on the liability side, asset side, and also on the wealth management side, which are happening through the assisted mode of the digital platform. So that is clearly visible, and definitely, and it is the way to go forward, as Muthoot has already rightly said that since the cost of operations is high, the more we get adaptability in the rural segment also on the digital platform, the cost of operations for the banks and financial institutions, particularly the NBFCs, they will come down. And lot of AI and ML also being used for alternate data sources, even for the rural population, particularly the usage of their mobile payments, electricity payments, their land records, and other kinds of payments with respect to their loan payments and other kinds of things. All these data points are coming handy for the banks, for the AI ML, and for making the BPR rule engine for finally funding the any of the products which we do. So the way forward, I would say that there is a lot of positivity. As Rawatji already said, that there is a lot of scope for more penetration of credit in the rural areas. We understand that around 20 to 30% of the rural population is still not like under the financing pattern, and lot of still unstructured borrowing is there, and outside the financial system also borrowing is happening. So a lot of scope is there, and the way forward is digital also in the rural landscape, particularly with the respect to fact that a lot of telecom and improvement is happening in the rural areas with respect to the telecom and the connectivity which is there. Now seamless connectivity is mostly available in our branches where we are having the branches. So going forward, this thing should only improve, and more digital adaptability should happen in the rural segment.
Got that. This is just one little question added with that is, Rawat sir spoke about trust, right? You have one of the largest nationalized bank brands in the country, one of the most reputed again. Does trust factor in your transactions as well, and how does that impact you on the organization?
So as regards trust is concerned, frankly speaking, public sector do not have this kind of trust issues, because for public sector banks, all the rural population, all our customers know that it's a government bank. So though we are a quasi-government, we are a public sector bank, a government of India undertaking, but for the people, we are a government bank. So that kind of trust issue is not there. I can say that for a public sector bank, but definitely in the rural population, trust issues are there. There are certain gray areas with respect to maybe some business correspondent may do a fraud with the customer, BCs may do a fraud.
BCs or DSAs, whoever.
BSA or DSA, BC or DSA may do a fraud on the customer, and the entire ecosystem in that branch or village, they are apprehensive that, oh, a fraud has happened, money has been taken away from one of our colleagues in the village. So that kind of issues do crop up. I acknowledge that. But overall, as far as public sector banks are concerned, trust issue is not there.
Got that, okay. Thomas, coming back to you, I'll ask you two questions now, Thomas. So, Thomas, one is like you being the practitioner again in private sector, right? And we spoke about trust as well, right? How does Muthoot Group ensure that with the customers?
So I think, like Sir said, even though it's digital, see, pushing an app is not just digitization, right? It should be providing credit frictionless and building that trustworthiness among the customers, right? So what we have done across the last couple of decades is that we have had our group concerns, the affordable housing or the microfinance or the gold loan or the MSME products, all are having its own ground team, which is educating these customers. Like Sir said, BCs and relationship officers have been educating this for the last couple of decades. And the last 5 years, which we post our establishment of the platform and the digital revolution which has happened, we have seen that customers are moving or asking us to move for a digital way of repayment and all that. And surprisingly, we've seen that close to, and that literally at the bottom half of the pyramid, 35% of our microfinance customers repay digitally. So that's a huge number, and it was all done organically by our team on ground, educating them day to day. And we do have class sessions. And surprisingly, that's an important factor there. We are also educating the kids so that they can help their parents and,
True. We spoke about the kid in the family with smartphone, right?
And so when we developed our platform, we focused on very important factors. Like language was a major factor there.
Correct.
And the entire process to get a transaction done shouldn't do more than 3 clicks.
Correct.
For a common man, it shouldn't be too complicated.
Yeah, true.
When we take this platform to the microfinance customer, we are focusing on specializing these products exclusively to individual customers. So when he logs in, he will only see what he needs to see and what he needs to, look into.
Got that. Thomas, one more question is, you've been like FinCorp1 is there and you've created a fantastic app. Do you think for India to bridge the gap, right, from where we are today to the next level, like Rawat sir also suggested, will AI-led innovations or UPI-like innovations are the way forward? Do you think that is the way forward, or it's still some other thing that we need to explore? What's your thought on that?
Absolutely. I think we already have developed a product based on QR for credit-first customers or people who do not have a good credit score or to apply to a bank, and small loan products. So, I mean, we have this particular product from 15,000 up to around 5 lakh or so. And this segment of customers need these capital, and literally the backbone of our economy as well.
Yes.
Kirana shops, milk shops, and all that stuff. So we are kind of using QR data to understand these customers' cash flow, to understand how much repayment is happening digitally, and then creating a credit score over that. But I think with account aggregator, ULI, and AI-based risk advisories and risk assessments, this will enhance even further, and the reachability to these type of customers will go even further. Like Sir was explaining on the land details, I think ULI will play a major factor in even, I mean, we need to be proud that as a country, there's nothing like an ULI out there in the world, right?
Totally.
And we are creating a backbone for the entire continent, if you ask me.
Yes.
To make everything quite digital and frictionless to the customer, especially the credit first, first time borrower to access credit.
No, definitely. I think, Thomas, you touched upon a very critical point. Like, I think when in 2017-18, we launched account aggregator as a regulated business overall, right, an NBFC license. Globally, there was only open banking that was there, but it was never regulated anywhere in the world, right? Again, UPI has been a fantastic success. ULI is like next level game changer where every data becomes accessible. Coming back to Rawat sir, NABARD is an apex institution that is actually technically running a lot of these initiatives. What are the things that you, at the helm of this Apex network in terms of technology, digital adoption, from institutions' perspective, are you guys looking at or pushing across institutions?
So in fact, we are supervising the rural financial institutions, the cooperative banks and the rural banking sector.
Yeah.
And they are playing a very important role in terms of credit penetration when it comes to small and marginal farmers, the weaker section.
Right.
So strengthening them is a very crucial area.
True.
So Government of India, the Reserve Bank, and the Ministry of Cooperation. So a joint effort is being made to how do we strengthen these rural financial institutions. And that is where we are taking a lot of steps. So the first step is, you must be aware that there are about 385 rural cooperative banks. And at the ground level, at the base level, there are more than 1 lakh cooperative societies, cooperative credit societies.
Correct.
So the first step that we have taken is how do you digitize these rural financial base level organizations?
Right.
So that work is almost 75,000 of these cooperative societies we are digitizing, and almost 70% of the work is complete.
True.
Our idea is once they are fully digitized, and because one peculiar thing about them, these cooperative societies, they can provide credit services and also non-credit services also,
True.
which no other entity can provide.
Yeah.
So that's a unique feature that they have, and we want to bank on that. And that is where we are thinking, once this digitalization process is complete, well stabilized, the next step would be to integrate them with entire ecosystem right from the government portals to different ULIs to different
Nice.
digital public infrastructure that is available,
Yeah.
which will ensure a seamless credit flow to the rural segments, and they are the major players in that. So if I talk about Agri credit, almost about 35–40% of the Kisan credit cards are being issued through them. So in terms of amount, it may be lesser, but in terms of numbers, they are the major players. So that is one area, and that is our priority. Second area is the cooperative banks themselves, the next layer, the district level layer. So if you talk about technology adoption at their level, and if you see the narrative right now in terms of the technology cost, in terms of the cyber security cost, all that, so that is not possible for them to invest individually in all those infrastructure.
Correct.
So we are creating a digital public infrastructure for them, a back-end service, which will provide them all the technological back-end service, and also different types of other services, which otherwise they would have either incurred a huge cost, or they might have not done.
Just to sorry. Just to add to Sir's point, I think very important factor which Sir touched on was partnerships, and partnerships across the chain, be it banks to NBFCs, NBFCs to smaller FPOs and smaller players out there. It kind of links a lot of these inclusion plans across the banks. So like Sir had pointed out, where the last mile for even the banks becomes essential, so that kind of an open system across the credit chain will make it much more seamless on-ground impact.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so that is the structure that we are creating. So at the base level, there will be primary cooperative credit societies, which will be fully digitized. They will be integrated. At the district level, they will be technologically enabled through the backend system, so that they can provide the adequate services in terms of credit, and then linking it with different entire ecosystem, and so that there is a frictionless credit available at the ground level. And also at the cooperative credit society level, they can also provide services, different type of services, which will ensure adoption of credit in a better way, or absorption of credit in a better way. So that is the overall work that we are doing. And similar work is being done for the regional rural banks also. You must have heard, now we have one state, one regional office. So that gives them a better strength now. Individually, they are having a better balance sheet. They can do a lot of activities in terms of technology and in terms of business diversification. So that is another area where we are working on a common digital credit infrastructure for them also.
Right.
So these are some of the initiatives. The focus is these rural financial institutions are important because they are nearest to the rural people. And they have a big trust. In fact, if Karnatak ji was talking about PSL, priority sector lending, they are the ones, those who are having maximum priority sector lending, much beyond what they are required to do. And that is because they have the rural presence. So our major focus now is how do you strengthen them, and then see the credit outreach in the rural hinterland goes in a very systematic, seamless way.
Yeah, makes sense. Rajneesh sir, one last question quickly to you. Is what are the one or two new emerging tech things or AI things that we can look forward from Bank of India overall, in coming years overall, in rural finance or any other space as well?
So as regards rural finance and microfinance is concerned, lot of initiatives we have taken, lot of fintechs which have been onboarded with us. A couple of things in the interest of time just I would highlight is one fintech we have adopted for our KCC. Not only renewals of the KCC, but even the fresh sanctions and enhancements in the KCC, where the entire journey is a digital journey, total journey, and the land records are also culled, the data of the account is also taken from there, and then the rule engine itself identifies what is the scale of finance depending on the nature of crop and the area of the land.
Nice.
So that sanctions are being given, and all these journeys are now adopted on a digital platform in the bank. That is the first part.
Yeah.
On the second thing that we have done is we have also onboarded one fintech which is helping us in funding the farmers who are supplying milk to the cooperatives, particularly to the Amul cooperative in Gujarat.
Yeah.
There we are tracking the entire cash flows and the milk production and the supply of milk that farmer is doing to the cooperative, particularly the Amul cooperatives. And then in the rule engine, it decides what is the scale of finance that can be given to that farmer who is supplying the milk. And then the amount is credited to their accounts. And whenever the cooperative, the Amul cooperative pays to the farmer, it comes directly to our bank account and the repayment happens, and it's a revolving facility through a digital journey. So that is the second thing which we have adopted and which is gaining traction. And the third thing is obviously, as I said, the gold loan journey which is there, totally adopted gold loan journey, wherein again the scale of finance and other things are fully inbuilt into the algorithm in the BPR rule engine. Right. And gold loans are also being, apart from the pledge of gold, all other part is being done through the digital platform. So these three basic journeys, in the interest of time, I would just give 3 examples.
This is very helpful. Thank you, sir. I think how much time do you have for questions? Yeah.
We'll open the floor for Q&A. If you have a question, please put your hand up and we'll ensure that a mic reaches you. We have a gentleman here. Can we please pass on the mic to him?
Hi, this was for Rawat, sir. My name is Sachin. I represent the insurance sector. When we speak to a lot of distributors, whether Muthoot or Payments Bank and other segments, we see that NABARD sponsors a lot of financial inclusion camps, which is more focused towards savings or credit-related factors. We built products which are really amazing for the rural segment, but where it suffers, especially in health, because motor is mandatory, so it gets sold. But in health, it needs that awareness to be built. And if potentially NABARD could consider including health and health insurance as part of these inclusion camps, right, it would help build overall awareness and adoption of health insurance in rural.
Yes, definitely. I mean, that's a good suggestion because I understand your point in the rural areas. If somebody falls ill and a lot of money goes into that, so that's a big problem for a rural farmer or a rural client. So I think that is an important thing. We'll definitely see, because the curriculum that we devise for the financial literacy camps is basically for the entire cohort of this this financial education. But this is one important component that can be definitely included as a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have another question? Yes, the gentleman there, and that will be the only question we'll take over here in this session.
Hi sir, this is Harsh from HDFC Argo. I am representing an insurance company here. Question to the entire panel. We are talking about financial payments. Insurance industry can also support this initiative by providing certain covers to the customers who are using this financial payment devices, like cyber session insurance. So do you have any take on that? Can this literacy can also go to these customers and product be made available to them?
Just to add to your point, I think whatever products I was talking about, which we provide through Muthoot across the group, all have insurance products which are inbuilt with these products as well, and customer can opt in or opt out. as we are focused on customers at the bottom half of the pyramid, take microfinance, we have insurances focused on calamity, natural calamities, death, etc., etc. So there are many of these being focused, and if you go through our platform itself, we have other insurance products like you just said about cyber. We do have that products as well for the for customers who are looking at repayments and all that focused.
Thanks, sir. But do we have it at Bank of India, or NABARD has a policy wherein this can be made compulsory for people, or maybe provided with some concessional pricing?
Yeah, so for as far as our bank is concerned, Bank of India, yes, we have a cyber security insurance which is there for our customers. That is one part, but as you rightly said, there is a huge gap in that. We are assessing that, and definitely we'll be engaging with more insurance companies for giving more insurance security as far as cyber security is concerned, particularly to the rural customer and small customers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, with that, I do realize that we have a lot of questions, and I will encourage you to take the questions informally with our speakers. With that, it brings us towards the end of this session, but Shri Goverdhan Singh Rawat ji has been very gracious to get mementos for the panel. I request him to kindly present the mementos to the rest of the panel. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause for all of our panelists for so beautifully presenting ideas and policies. Thank you so much to all of our panelists, Mr. Rawat, Mr. Karnatak, Mr. John, and our moderator who very beautifully navigated all of the questions, Mr. Lunia.